You know, you guys, I think it's safe to say that almost every single year as the NBA playoffs finally approach us, is that there almost always seems to be that one particular team, the one quote-unquote underdog that almost nobody is really paying attention to, that ends up making a lot more noise and a much bigger run than most people would have anticipated. And personally, if I had to cast a vote for who I believe this team would be this year, it would almost undoubtedly be the Toronto Raptors. Because while this team has been sneaking under both the radar as well as the recognition of the media, there is honestly so many different things to dissect about this Raptors team that most people do not notice, that in the end could lead them to make some serious noise in this 2022 postseason. One sec though guys, if you haven't yet, don't forget to like the video if you do enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those notifications to never miss another NBA video. Love you guys. And for those of you that haven't yet, I am highly encouraging you to do so, because according to my numbers, over 95% of you guys coming back to watch the content haven't even subscribed yet. So for anyone that does, thank you so much. But anyway, for any of you regulars, you might remember a couple weeks ago when we made a video discussing how the Raptors are continually breaking the NBA, and we made this video relatively when the Raptors were sort of making a surge. It wasn't by any means where they are right now, but from what we've seen to end the season, it looks like the math checks out from what we discussed. Because as they finish the season with a more than exceeding of expectations record of 48-34, netting them the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, they have seemingly done so in a way that is manipulating the rest of the NBA, and personally, when I'm looking at it, I absolutely love it. Because in the league nowadays, I think it's pretty clear cut and dry that the message is to every single front office and franchise that if you want to win or even compete for an NBA championship, that you need flat out star power, and there's really no way around it. And believe me, with this statement, I am by no means whatsoever trying to say that Toronto does not possess star power, but even though they have a current all-star in Fred VanVleet and a former all-star who is still playing at that caliber of a level in Pascal Siakam, many people around the league even still look at what these two have done this season, and on top of that, the success they have led their team to, and still do not consider them championship caliber leaders. But the thing is about this team is that even with the monumental impact these two have had on the Toronto Raptors, this team has seemingly defied all odds by throwing the typical championship blueprint out the window, and instead have slowly but surely built one of the most balanced attacks we have seen out of an NBA team in quite some time. And when I say that, I just want you to know that I am not even exaggerating in the slightest. As to start, like we mentioned previously, we have the two standing out from the rest on this squad in Pascal Siakam averaging 23 and Fred VanVleet putting up over 20. But then behind these two, you have a rising sharpshooter in Trent Jr. putting up over 18 as well. And then honestly, one of the more underrated players in the league in OG Anunoby putting up 17 a game. But then last but not least, you have the gem that this team stumbled upon in Scottie Barnes, who is very well going to be the face of the franchise going forward. I mean, I'm not saying this as a guaranteed fact, but have we ever seen a starting five all average over 15 points per game? Because if it's happened in the past, I think I can confidently say that it's a rarity at that. But the funny thing is that it's definitely not a rarity for Toronto, as this is actually the 3rd year in a row following their 2019 NBA championship, where at least 5 players throughout their entire rotation averaged at least 15 points per game throughout the entire season. Like, if any of you guys might have seen some of the rumors talking about how teams were actively trying to avoid a matchup with the Toronto Raptors in the first round, I mean, this right here is the biggest reason why. The Raptors have purposely built out a rotation like this, where on any given night, one of their top 5 players could ultimately step up and be the sole reason of why they win that game. And I mean, I could be wrong, playoffs are a different breed, but odds are you're not stopping all 5 guys in every single game. And yes, the balanced attack is great and all for a potential playoff push out of this team, but there are definitely some other factors as well that have hindered into the success that Toronto has seen this year. And honestly, I think we need to give credit where it is due in this situation and recognize the pure brilliance of the Raptors head coach in Nick Nurse. Because for anyone who has watched this team, and again, this is one of the biggest reasons why nobody wants to match up with Toronto, is because they run some of the weirdest player rotations out of any team in the entire league, which seem to leave teams questioning what they should even do. Because if it's not enough that their unorthodox starting five doesn't contain a single center across all 5 positions, it makes it so much better when you look at the fact that the first 4 players off of the Raptors bench in almost every game are all big men. And you know, with a team running a potential rotation like this, you would generally think that it is a struggling organization that is just trying out some different things. But after a sluggish start to the season, Toronto was trying to find anything that could work to put some wins on the board, and it really seems like the game plan is simply to confuse the living hell out of all of their opponents. And if you're watching this right now and you think a rotation like this is only going to work in the regular season and it in turn will not work on some of the top and better teams in the NBA, I think that this graphic showing the best records from all NBA teams when facing the top 3 teams from either conference might just change your mind. And I definitely know that there are some people out there that have noticed what the Raptors have done this season, and in turn were also pretty surprised with it, but I can already tell you that what my favorite part about this team is going to be is that even if whether they're a first round exit or they do end up making a playoff push, is that whether the rest of the league recognizes it or not, this really feels like only the beginning as to what Toronto can accomplish over the next couple of years. Because I mean, aside from the fact that this entire roster is so much younger than most people actually think, they've also found themselves the very likely rookie of the year in Scottie Barnes, who in just his first year is not only proving that he can be a vital piece on a playoff contender, but is also very clearly showing he can be the face of the franchise for this team for the foreseeable future. I mean, there will definitely be some other factors that go into it, but long story short, the future looks very bright up north. But aside from everything I've just mentioned, we now have to get your guys' 2 cents on the situation, so please let me know in the comments, how far do you think the Toronto Raptors can make it in the 2022 postseason? And if the Toronto Raptors are not your dark horse team, I want to know who is. But also guys, again, if you haven't yet, don't forget to go down below and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy, and of course, subscribe while you're down there. I mean, brand new content every single week around here, you guys, and with the playoffs finally approaching, we are going to have so much to talk about, so just trust me when I say this, you do not want to miss out. But also, I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for watching. I appreciate all of you more than anything, you all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.